Welcome to the Senior Health video. This video will talk about early Sjogren's symptoms that can destroy your brain and nervous system. Have you ever felt your mind slip for just a moment, forgetting a word, a name, or why you walked into a room and then brushed it off as simple? Aging millions of Americans over 50 do this every day without realizing that those tiny lapses could be the first sparks of something far more dangerous. What if your own immune system was quietly turning against you, peeling away the insulation around your nerves, like stripping live wires until your brain's signals could no longer reach your body? Imagine the confusion, the imbalance, the fear of losing control over your own thoughts and movements. It sounds terrifying because it is. This is the hidden face of Sjogren's syndrome, an autoimmune disease that most people still think only causes dry eyes or a dry mouth. But behind that dryness lies inflammation powerful enough to scar the brain, slow the spine, and burn the nerves that keep the body alive. While patients are told to use more eye drops or drink more water, the disease can already be climbing upward through the nervous system inch by inch. One day it is fatigue, the next it is brain fog, and soon it may become weakness, confusion, or even a sudden fall. The tragedy is not that this illness exists, but that it is so often ignored until it steals years of memory and independence. Doctors often dismiss the early clues as stress or aging, leaving patients to wonder why their world is shrinking. Yet knowledge changes everything. In this video, the truth will finally be exposed. You will see how this invisible attack moves through the body, how to recognize its earliest whispers, and which precise medical tests can uncover the danger before it becomes irreversible. If you have ever felt that something deeper was wrong and no one believed you, stay with this story. What you are about to learn could protect your brain, your balance, and your future. Number 1, brain fog and clarity. It often starts so quietly that people barely notice. A forgotten word, a misplaced thought, a moment when your mind feels heavy like it is walking through fog. Most people laugh it off or blame it on being tired. But what if that fog was your brain's first cry for help? This is how Sjogren's syndrome begins for many Americans, not with dryness, but with confusion. The immune system turns restless and begins to mistake the brain's protective covering for a threat. Inflammation creeps into areas that control focus and memory, slowly disrupting the flow of information between brain cells. Science shows that this chronic inflammation can leave white matter scars that appear on MRI scans, the same kind linked to early cognitive decline. These scars slow down thinking, speech, and reaction time, creating moments of frustration and embarrassment. Imagine sitting across from your grandchild trying to remember the name of their favorite toy and feeling that name disappear before it reaches your lips. For one retired teacher I spoke with, it started this way. She forgot lesson plans she had taught for decades, thinking it was stress. Months later, an MRI revealed that her brain was under attack from inflammation caused by Sjogren's. The tragedy is that this could have been detected sooner with the right cognitive tests and blood markers. If your memory feels slower, your focus weaker, or your thoughts blur, more often, do not ignore it. Ask for a cognitive assessment and a brain MRI to uncover the truth before the damage deepens. But only knowing this first sign is not enough, because there is another part of the body where the disease hides, waiting to strike in an even more dangerous way. But only knowing this is not enough, because there is another factor even more dangerous. Number 2, spine weakness. What happens when the highway that connects your brain to your body begins to crumble? Your spinal cord is that highway carrying every message that tells your legs to walk, your hands to move, your heart to beat in rhythm. When Sjogren's syndrome spreads beyond the brain, it often targets this fragile network. Inflammation builds like a traffic jam inside the spine, blocking the signals that once flowed freely. At first, it feels like stiffness or fatigue, but over time, the body starts to misfire. The legs feel heavier, the balance becomes uncertain, and each step feels like walking through water. Some people describe it as clumsy or unsteady, almost as if gravity itself has changed. In reality, it is the nerves inside the spinal cord struggling to deliver commands. Research from neurology journals confirms that untreated inflammation in the spinal cord can mimic multiple sclerosis, yet remain invisible if only the brain is scanned. That is why so many patients are told their MRI looks normal, while the real damage is hiding just inches lower. The solution is simple but often overlooked. Ask your doctor for a spinal MRI in addition to a brain scan. Request a full neurological review that includes motor testing and reflex evaluation. If you have ever felt your legs turn weak or your steps uncertain, do not dismiss it as age. Early imaging can reveal the inflammation before it leaves permanent scars. One woman I met used to enjoy evening walks around her neighborhood. When she began tripping on flat ground, she thought it was her shoes. By the time the spinal inflammation was found, her confidence had vanished. Her story is a reminder that weakness is not always in the muscles, but often in the messages that never reach them. But only knowing this is not enough because there is another hidden layer of nerves waiting to be attacked, and the pain it causes is unforgettable. Number 3, burning nerves. As the inflammation moves beyond the spine, it begins to target the tiniest nerves that live in your hands, feet, and skin. Sjogren's syndrome often attacks these peripheral nerves, first the same ones that let you feel texture, warmth, and balance. When those fibers become inflamed, every touch turns painful. It may start with tingling or numbness, but soon it feels like walking barefoot on hot coals or having electric sparks beneath your skin. Many patients describe nights where even the weight of a blanket feels unbearable. This is called peripheral neuropathy, and it can quietly destroy the nerves that keep you connected to your surroundings. Doctors often mistake it for diabetes, poor circulation, or aging, but studies show that up to 60% of people with Sjogren's develop this nerve damage. Once the protective coating around nerves breaks down, signals become confused and distorted. The only way to confirm it is through a nerve conduction study, or an EMG, which measure how fast your nerves respond. If you have burning, stabbing, or numbness, ask for these tests before the damage spreads. One man I met replaced every pair of shoes he owned, thinking they caused his pain, until an EMG revealed it was his nerves dying from inflammation. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there is another hidden system that Sjogren's attacks next one, that controls your heartbeat, your digestion, and your balance without you even knowing it. Number 4, body misfire. What if your heart raced while you were sitting still, or the room spun every time you stood up? This is what happens when Sjogren's syndrome invades the autonomic nervous system, the part of your body that works behind the scenes to control your heart rate, blood pressure, digestion, and even sweating. Most people never think about these functions until they go wrong. Suddenly, standing from a chair can make vision fade to black. A calm heartbeat can turn wild, and ordinary heat can feel suffocating because the body forgets how to sweat. Some people faint without warning, while others live in constant dizziness as if trapped on a moving ship. These are not panic attacks or anxiety, even though that is what many patients are told. Research shows that inflammation from Sjogren's can interrupt the nerve signals that regulate automatic body functions. This is called autonomic neuropathy, and it can affect every organ that depends on stable nerve control. The first step toward finding answers is testing. Ask your doctor for a tilt table test or an autonomic reflex screen. These simple but powerful tools measure how your blood pressure and heart respond to movement. The results can uncover nerve damage that would otherwise remain invisible. I once heard about a woman who fainted in a grocery store and was told it was stress. Years later, tests proved her autonomic nerves were being destroyed. Her story is proof that fainting and dizziness deserve real investigation. But even that is only part of the picture, because the same inflammation that attacks the nerves can also reach the brain itself, threatening memory focus and the ability to think clearly. Number 5, memory decline. It often begins with small moments that seem harmless. You forget a word in mid-sentence or lose track of what you were saying. You misplace keys or repeat a question without realizing it. This quiet erosion of memory is one of the most dangerous effects of Sjogren's syndrome, and it happens because chronic inflammation slowly scars the brain. Those scars appear as white matter lesions on an MRI, the same type linked to early cognitive decline. While Alzheimer's destroys brain cells through plaques, Sjogren's damages the wiring that carries information between them. The result is slower thinking, poor concentration, and moments of confusion that feel like the mind is slipping away. Many patients are told it is stress or aging, yet studies reveal measurable brain changes in people with long-term Sjogren's. One grandmother began forgetting her grandson's name and feared it was dementia, but her MRI showed lesions from untreated inflammation. The tragedy is that these changes can appear years before anyone recognizes the pattern. If you notice your memory fading or your focus shrinking, ask for a brain MRI and neuropsychological testing. Early detection can stop further decline and open the door to treatment that protects remaining brain function. Mental clarity is not just a luxury, it is independence. Losing it means losing the ability to live freely. But even this is not the final danger, because the same inflammation that clouds the brain can also disturb the blood itself, raising the risk of something far more sudden and life-threatening. Number 6, silent strokes. Few people realize how closely the brain and blood are connected. When Sjogren's inflammation lingers for too long, it does more than damage nerves, it thickens the blood and makes it more likely to clot. This turns every heartbeat into a risk. Imagine the blood in your veins changing from a clear-flowing river into a slow, heavy stream filled with debris. That sluggish flow can create blockages that starve parts of the brain of oxygen. These events are called mini-strokes or transient ischemic attacks. They are short, often lasting only minutes, but their impact can be permanent. Some people suddenly lose their words. Others feel one side of the face droop or the arm turn weak. Then it passes and they assume it was nothing. In truth, it was a warning from the body that a larger stroke may be on the way. Studies have shown that people with Sjogren's have a higher risk of vascular inflammation, yet most doctors do not look for it until the damage is visible. The key is vigilance. Ask for a brain MRI and an MRA to evaluate blood flow, and request a carotid ultrasound if you have unexplained weakness or slurred speech. These tests can expose silent clots before they cause disaster. One woman endured 3 episodes of temporary numbness before anyone believed her. By the time the correct scan was done, the scarring was already visible. Her story is a lesson that silence in the body never means safety. But even knowing this is only the beginning, because the power to stop progression lies in understanding which tests to demand and how to use them before it is too late. Number 7, key tests. Knowledge means survival when facing a disease that hides so well. Sjogren's syndrome often slips past routine exams because its damage occurs deep within the nerves and tissues. That is why the right medical tests are not optional, they are essential. The first step is a blood test for SSA and SSB antibodies. A positive result can confirm the autoimmune attack, but a negative test does not mean you are safe. Up to 1/3 of patients show no antibodies at all, which is why the next step matters. A salivary gland biopsy or ultrasound can expose inflammation and cellular damage even when blood looks normal. For nerve pain or weakness, the most revealing tools are the nerve conduction study and the EMG, which measure how fast and how strong your nerves send signals. A spinal MRI should never be skipped because inflammation often hides below the brain where few doctors look. If symptoms are severe, ask for a CSF analysis, a spinal fluid test that can uncover antibodies floating where they should never be. Finally, for those struggling with dizziness, fainting, or heart irregularities, request an autonomic reflex screen or a tilt table test. These evaluations create the roadmap that separates uncertainty from diagnosis. One patient told me she spent years being dismissed as anxious until a tilt table test proved her nerves were failing to regulate blood pressure. That single test changed everything. But tests alone cannot restore balance, because the next step is knowing which treatments and daily adjustments can calm the immune attack and bring back quality of life. Number 8, healing treatments. After diagnosis, the most important question is what can actually be done. While there is no single cure for Sjogren's syndrome, modern medicine offers powerful tools to slow the immune attack and protect the nervous system. Doctors often begin with corticosteroids to calm inflammation during active flare-ups. These medications act quickly, reducing swelling in the nerves and spinal cord. For long-term control, immunosuppressants such as methotrexate, azathioprine, or mycophenolate are used to quiet the overactive immune response. In more advanced cases, biologic drugs like rituximab target specific immune cells responsible for nerve damage. These treatments do not erase the disease, but they can preserve function and prevent permanent scarring. Pain management is another key step. Medications like gabapentin or pregabalin can ease burning and tingling sensations that keep patients awake at night. Beyond medicine, physical therapy helps retrain movement, restore balance, and strengthen weak muscles. Occupational therapy teaches new ways to handle daily tasks safely and confidently. Cognitive rehabilitation can sharpen memory and focus by helping the brain build new pathways around damaged areas. Some patients find support through magnesium supplements for nerve health, compression stockings for circulation and home devices like blood pressure monitors to track changes. One woman who could barely walk found stability again through therapy and consistent medication. Her story shows that progress is possible. But even after treatment begins, the journey is not over, because true recovery also depends on awareness, persistence, and the decision to never ignore the body's signals again. Number 9, life-saving awareness. Every story shared, every symptom recognized brings another life closer to safety. Sjogren's syndrome is not a disease of dryness. It is a hidden fire that burns through the nervous system if left unnoticed. Many people lose years searching for answers, believing their fatigue or brain fog is just stress or age. But understanding what truly happens inside the body transforms fear into action. Early detection allows doctors to slow the immune attack before it scars the brain or cripples the nerves. Awareness is not just medical, it is emotional. It means believing yourself when something feels wrong. It means asking questions until you receive real answers. Knowledge is the most powerful treatment because it leads to the right tests, the right doctors, and the right timing. Sharing this information with friends, family, or anyone facing unexplained symptoms could save them from years of confusion. Imagine how many lives could change if people knew that dryness, dizziness, or memory loss were not random, but signs of a single disease trying to reveal itself. One patient told me she watched this very message months after being dismissed by 3 doctors. She asked for the tests we discussed and finally got her diagnosis. That decision gave her clarity, treatment, and hope. Her story is proof that awareness is not a small thing, it is survival. And as we close this journey, remember this truth: never ignore what your body's trying to tell you, because one moment of attention can protect your mind, your balance, and the life you still deserve to live. The truth is simple yet powerful. Sjogren's syndrome is not just about dryness, it is about protecting the body from silent inflammation that can touch the brain, the spine, and the nerves that give life meaning. You now understand how this condition moves, how it hides, and how to uncover it before the damage becomes permanent. What matters most is awareness and early action. If you have felt fatigue, brain fog, burning sensations, or unexplained weakness, do not ignore them. Talk to your doctor, request the right tests, and listen to what your body's trying to say. Small steps today can prevent years of pain tomorrow. Healing starts with knowledge and continues with consistency. Follow a balanced diet, stay hydrated, protect your sleep, and keep gentle movement in your daily life. These habits nourish the brain, support circulation, and keep the immune system steady. Remember, even though Sjogren's cannot yet be cured, it can be controlled. Many people regain stability and clarity once they learn to act early and live consciously. You are not alone in this journey, and you are not powerless. There is always something you can do today to protect your tomorrow. In the next video, we will explore the best foods and natural nutrients that calm inflammation and support nerve health, so your brain and body can thrive again. Save this video, share it with someone who may need it, and subscribe to the channel to receive the latest updates on medical breakthroughs, senior health tips, and natural food solutions that truly work. Stay hopeful, stay consistent, and believe in your ability to heal, because every small act of awareness is a victory for your future health, your independence, and your life.